This is our psychology film project, and we will be discussing the analyzation of the 2019 film Joker. So who is the Joker? The main character, Arthur Fleck, is portrayed as a middle-aged man who is a professional clown living in Gotham City. Early on, it is depicted that Arthur lives with his mom, who seems to be his only relation to any person. We later see that Arthur has a condition of uncontrollable laughter, ironic in comparison to his job. However, the city of Gotham proves to be a harsh world for Arthur, as he is constantly ridiculed for his condition, terrorized by kids, and tormented by people always overlooking his side of the story. This ultimately leads to the unraveling of his twisted persona we all know. But he isn't naturally an evil person. To understand the Joker, one must understand his environment and disorder. Gotham City. The fictional city of Gotham is widely known. However, in this film, Gotham is portrayed as a class-divided system between the rich and the poor. Unfortunately, the rich are prejudiced towards people like Arthur in both his financial standings and his disorder. Arthur is seen being beaten up by teens and ridiculed by a mom for his interaction with her child. The rich, such as Thomas Wayne, view people like Arthur as clowns and publicly look down on their existence. For example, Arthur's therapist's public funds were cut as a result. Arthur could no longer obtain his medication. The issue is so prevalent that eventually a violent movement starts of the poor class through riots after Arthur kills 3 rich men on a train. The rallies in division worsens as the movie proceeds, which eventually persuades Arthur to give in to his violent thoughts and bring out his true carefree self, the Joker. So what makes Arthur the Joker? Through analyzation of his life, it can be concluded Arthur has narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder is described as a pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and lack of empathy, according to the DSM-5. In the film, his disorder is what causes his public humiliation. The rich ridicule his differences and cause him a lot of psychological harm. However, a culture shift occurs in the acceptance of his disorder. After he shot the 3 people, his actions caused a movement of the poor. The poor praised his violent outburst of anger and began to view him as a hero for standing up to the injustice. So how does Arthur's life reveal his disorder? While the subway killing did spark a background riot, in reality, the killing represented his lack of empathy for taking lives rather than a movement. After he kills the 3 men, he does show some fear, but no remorse, and later he is seen dancing to calm himself down and being content with his actions. It is also at first perceived Arthur going on dates with a girl, but it was actually a hallucination. This is a pivotal scene as it shows his need for admiration and acceptance, a key component in the disorder. Therefore, we can see the symptoms of the disorder in Arthur and how they control how he thinks and feels. What is the treatment? The best form of treatment for this disorder is psychoanalytic psychotherapy. The use of unconscious thoughts from open-ended questions from the psychiatrist prompts psychological healing to the individual. This allows the individual to express the tampered thoughts to the therapist in order to provide a baseline for the best treatment. In fact, Arthur does see a therapist in the film. He is told to write down his thoughts and they discuss them in the meeting. It is proven this form of treatment is significant because in the film, public funding was cut and he could no longer have access to his public therapist. This also cut his ability to obtain his medication, resulting in the outbreak of his disorder to fully take over his persona. Was the disorder portrayed well? Ultimately, this film portrays the disorder exceptionally well. Despite actually labeling the disorder, the film provides multiple instances where the disorder is portrayed and how it can affect a person's life. The disorder is easily seen as a motivator behind Arthur's actions, feelings, and thoughts, as well as incorporating the symptoms as key features to the development of the film. By having these effects and symptoms of the disorder as the main components of the character development, it suggests just how well the film utilized and portrayed the disorder. Overall, different disorders are present in many people. Sometimes these disorders can cause pain to an individual or make life harder than others. The 2019 film Joker collaborates the comic franchise of Batman and one of his villains' origin stories, while providing a very real disorder as part of his upbringing. This film is an important reminder to the world that disorders are real and should not be frowned upon within society. Although the film is fictional, these people are real and as a lesson should be treated different than in the film. This spectacular piece instills the importance of the psychoanalysis of disorders to help the ones directly affected and everyone else. To conclude, disorders can cause difficulty, but care is the most important response, not neglect, because situations like these can happen in actual lives, but they can also be prevented. And that's life.